Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where and when you are viewing this presentation. My name is Dr. Nicole West. I'm an associate professor at Missouri State University, and I am really pleased to be able to present this work on behalf of a group of dynamic colleagues. I wasn't able to present in person, but figured I would leverage this technology and hopefully record this presentation in a way that'll make it more accessible. So I'd also like to thank Danielle for reviewing the manuscript that is under review with the Journal of Diversity in Higher Education. And also would like to thank Erica, my co-presenter, who is holding it down in my absence. And I wish you luck on your presentation as well. With that said, the title of this paper is Black Women as Coxswains, Allyship Outcomes for Black and White Women in a PARC project developed by Black women in higher education. I think it's really important to contextualize how I approach this work. So my work as a faculty member more broadly, but specifically with regard to this work and my work as a scholar, is that I unapologetically center Black women students, faculty, staff, and administrators with the goal of materially enhancing their experiences in the academy. To do this, I draw on about 20 years of student affairs administrative experience and my current role as a tenured faculty member who has been recognized nationally with awards in both teaching and research. So this work really grew out of my background as a former multicultural educator and recognizing the current political climate around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work, as well as the economic strain that many higher education institutions are facing, which means that these institutions and organizations must be more strategic in how they develop and implement and assess diversity training and related programming. Newkirk's book, Diversity, Inc. really highlights the chronically, what they refer to as the chronically disappointing results with regard to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And really the idea here is that despite decades of investing significant resources in campus programs designed to attract and retain diverse students, faculty, and staff, the gains are negligible, as you will see here by some of the statistics we drew from the National Center for Education Statistics. In the diversity training literature, there are three primary issues, and these issues really center around the lack of theoretically, conceptually, and methodologically rigorous diversity training programs. Devine and Ash note that the enthusiasm for and monetary investment in diversity training has outpaced the available evidence that such programs are effective in achieving their goals. So there are several works of literature or bodies of literature that supported our framing of this particular study and the PARC project we're going to discuss. So first, the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education, or NADAHE, two of their standards, Standard 1 and Standard 7, really address the need for approaches that are intersectional and approaches that are based in evidence. In addition, in the diversity training literature, there are a number of promising evidence-based practices that suggest promise with regard to conducting diversity training in educational settings, including women who face one or more types of oppression and marginalization, and then also the focus on combining awareness and skill building within diversity training initiatives. There were four primary sources that guided the framing of the PARC project, which is the Unlikely Allies Conference, and I'll describe that on the next slide. So Dr. Karen Dace's work on allyship between Black women and women of color in the academy, which I initially came into contact with through the University of Missouri at Kansas City, their Critical Conversation series. Opie and Livingston shared sisterhood model, as well as Erskine and Billimoria's white allyship of Afro-diasporic women. Their work really framed or helped us frame the conference goals, the 4 conference goals, which I'll share in a moment. And then the National Coalition Building Institute's Leadership for Diversity Institute, we really draw on their work in terms of developing the activities that we use during the conference. And as I mentioned in my reference to my positionality, I'm really interested in using theory as practice. And in this particular study, which focused on allyship between Black women and white women, we needed to consider the impact of race, gender, and other privileged and marginalized identities on the participants' understandings and expressions of allyship. So the Unlikely Allies Conference, or the UAC, was a project that resulted from a PARC comprised of 11 Black women at my institution. So PARC is a methodological framework I developed to materially enhance the experiences of multiplicatively marginalized cultural groups in higher education. Essentially, PARCs can be used as an agentic diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy that is embedded in a critical action research methodology. So this group of 11 women, we spent a year investigating the experiences of Black women on our campus and developed an action research project that we believe would materially and explicitly improve the experiences of Black women on campus. Allyship with white women was one of the central issues we identified, and that's how we decided on the Unlikely Allies Conference. I will say, if you want to know more about the PARC methodological framework, I've included a reference at the end of the presentation, a 2023 reference at the end of the presentation. And if you're wanting to know more about the implementation of the conference itself, I've included a 2024 reference at the end of the presentation. So to talk specifically about the Unlikely Allies Conference, the conference consisted of 3 different pre-conference book clubs that were facilitated by Black and white women, students, faculty, and staff. So there was one book club for each of those groups. Book club was co-facilitated by a Black woman and a white woman. The main conference consisted of a campus-wide lecture, which was done by Dr. Dace. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had a variety of interactive workshops that were focused on relationship building and skill building. In total, 45 white and Black women, students, faculty, staff, and administrators participated, including a number of administrators at the dean's level and above. You'll notice on the screen the 4 conference goals. And again, these goals were built on the shared sisterhood model, as well as Erskine and Billimoria's work on white allyship of Afro-diasporic women. So those goals were to facilitate trust and interracial coalitions among Black and white women on campus, to provide participants with a brave space to engage in critical self-reflexivity, and to promote the proliferation of pro-social behavior among Black and white women on campus, and to explore the concept of tempered radicalism among Black and white women on campus. Here are some pictures from the Unlikely Allies Conference, including a picture here of an interpretive dance that was choreographed and performed by 2 undergraduate dance students and one of the Black women faculty members who was in the PARC. The other pictures are pictures of Dr. Dace giving her keynote address. There's a group picture of all of the participants in the middle. There are 3 pictures of 2 different dyads and 1 triad, each composed of a Black woman and either 1 or 2 white women. And the other two pictures are of one of the workshop sessions where we asked participants to take selfies and get to know one another a little better. But this shows the room that the workshop was held in and the interactive nature of the workshop. So in terms of the procedures, we had 7 Black and white women who engaged in a collaborative autoethnographic study to answer the following research question. How did participating in a PARC project known as the Unlikely Allies Conference, which was a theoretically, conceptually, and methodologically grounded diversity training program, impact allyship among white and Black women in higher education? There were 4 Black women and 3 white women, and we had representation from students, staff, and administrators on campus and faculty. So data collection and analysis proceeded through 3 phases. During the pre-data collection phase, we discussed the study's purpose, the problem statement. We looked at the research questions and developed those. We wrote the reflective narrative prompt and the preliminary focus group questions. And we also reached tentative agreements regarding the phases of data collection, the type of data collection and analysis, including the number, size, and composition of the focus groups. During phase 1, we each wrote a reflective narrative by responding to a prompt about how we believe participating in the UAC impacted us in the months following the conference, both on and off campus. In this phase, we individually used holistic coding grounded in the 4 conference goals to identify one question for every other participant. During phase 2, we held 2 separate focus groups, one for Black women and one for white women, using the questions generated in phase 1. In this phase, I used a deductive a priori approach to identify open and in vivo codes grounded in the 4 conference goals. I then used inductive a posteriori axial coding to identify broader categories. Finally, I returned to an a priori thematic analysis to identify themes related to the study's research question. These codes, categories, and themes were shared with the other co-participants who, at this point in the study, played a more consultative role. Phase 3 of the data collection and analysis was conducted the same way as phase 2, but used a different set of questions, which were the ones participants developed collaboratively during the pre-data collection phase. The findings of the study are shown here, but for the sake of time and given the focus of this specific presentation, I'm only going to discuss theme 1. I will note that the other findings, the other themes reflected relational, attitudinal, and behavioral changes, which directly corresponded with the goals of the Unlikely Allies Conference. These are shown here and discussed in more detail in the paper. However, as we analyzed the reflective narratives and focus group transcripts, it was clear that this theme pervaded the other 5 themes and all of the UAC goals, and thus was chosen to headline the paper. One of the big questions co-participants grappled with during the study was, how do we work together to move this forward without us, Black women, losing our souls, and without them, white women, losing their jobs? The first theme reflected both Black and white women participants' sentiments about one answer to this question. Let's listen to one of the Black women participants and white women participants share this idea.
Have you all ever watched a rowing competition? So there are at least 1 or 2 key people in that kind of boat. One is the person who is calling out the direction in the row and helping everybody be on the same beat at the same time. And I want to say they're called the coxswain. I think sometimes Black women play that role. That person in a boat faces the other direction, and they don't row at all. And they are responsible for steering the boat and coordinating the power and rhythm of the rowers in the boat. So now what makes a good coxswain? Is that person is one of the most respected and has the most respected skill in the boat because they have the ability to reach in and pull something out of the rowers that they didn't know they had.
That was Layla, one of the Black women. Now let's listen to Lynn, one of the white women.
I think the importance of just being able to come together and lower defenses and really listen, especially for me. I'll just speak for myself and really listen to my Black colleagues and not always come in and try to have the answer. And to remember, I do not have that lived experience. So this is one of those times I need to step back.
So as we hear from these two co-participants, theme one reflected a powerful repositioning of both Black and white women's allyship, leadership, and labor. Redefining Black women as coxswains illuminates the juxtaposition of Black women being respected, valued, and consulted for their strategic acumen or their intellectual capital, with white women being counted on to take a more active role by physically maneuvering through institutions to wield their political capital on behalf of Black women. Challenging white women and others with privileged positionalities to actively engage in allyship behaviors at the behest of Black women also pushes back against the idea that Black women should carry the load that white men, white women, and Black men refuse to carry. So before this study, I had never actually heard of a Black woman coxswain, and I certainly hadn't seen one. I had never seen one in action. I think seeing what this looks like in the context of rowing, which is a sport dominated by white, resource-privileged individuals, will help further illuminate the metaphor we are advancing in this paper. This is coxswain, or Cox for short, Corey Wiggins, who developed the website, theblackcoxswain.com. I encourage you to check out her work and follow her on social media. In this clip, she is leading the first all-Black women's 8+ at head of the Charles. And while this is an all-Black rowing team, our metaphor here is made clear as you listen to Corey guide her crew through a particularly challenging part of the race.
Push out. That's it, ladies. They're yielding here. I want your eyes up. Get ready to surge through the legs in 2. That's 1. We're putting Jasmine on that coxswain. This one now, go. Lift. Lift. That's it, ladies. Right on. Press it. Press it. All right, girls, we've got all 8 of them watching you here. I want your chest up. We're gonna hold clean as we move through them here. Stay clean, stay tall. Yup, you're going seat by seat here. Seat by seat, chest up, dial it in. All right, ladies, they're making moves here. You're gonna defend it off the front. Into, we're gonna go big puddles. This is 1 little bit of oar overlap. 2 now, focused in, dial in, then go. Lift, set, lift, set. Right on it, ladies, chest up. I'm sitting about 3 seats from their coxswain here. You're gonna reel me in 2, in 1, this one, go now. Legs down. That's it, ladies, you're crushing them here. Sit up, we're coming through this next bridge here. I'm on their coxswain. All right, Baylor, reel me into that stroke seat here. Latch on. Yup, now we go seat by seat. That's it, ladies. Blades in. Blades in. Yup, prepping for that big turn here, ladies. I want you to dial in, keep focused here. Yup, right on it. All right, Balfour, you know what you need to do. Let's get it, Jasmine. Let's go, Daphne, sit up. Reel me in. Reel me in, right on. All right, ladies, prepping for this big turn here. We're gonna hold that connection through the water. Hold that blade in as long as you can. Maintain that connection, lighten the feet. There. There, right on. All right, ladies, I'm on their bow ball here. We're gonna break open, just sneak away here. Clip it along, sneak away. Sneak away, that's it. We're doing it, ladies. Nice and tall, prepping for this turn here. Latch on, keep completing. Keep completing, that's it. We're gonna keep pushing these boats away from us here.
So I'll stop the video here, but one thing I want to point out is if you'll notice, Corey, or the coxswain, is the only one facing in the direction of the finish line, and the rowers have to implicitly trust her leadership to get them to the goal successfully. So there are lots of ways we can apply this metaphor to the work of allyship between Black and white women. There are several ways theme 1 is related to the other themes and reflects each of the UAC goals. I'd like to discuss a few of the ways this theme is related to the final goal of the UAC, which was goal 4, disrupting the status quo and engaging in tempered radicalism. First, seeing Black women as coxswains repositions them as highly skilled strategists who set and steer the boat's course. They inspire and direct the crew's labor, but they don't actually row themselves. This helps subvert both historical and contemporary characterizations of Black women as the mules of the world. Finally, this reframing means Black women are counted on more for their strategic brilliance and intellectual capital, and white women are counted on more for their physical engagement and socio-political capital. In this paper, we suggest some specific recommendations for practice and research. Again, for time's sake, I will highlight just a few of the study's practical implications. First, do not limit Black women's leadership to DEIB-related positions and committees on campus. This is especially important given the current attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion in higher education. Secondly, we have to make sure that DEIB goals are codified within institutional missions and strategic or long-range plans, state priorities and legislative interests, and opportunities for fiscal growth. And finally, institutions and institutional leaders must recognize the impact of gendered racial battle fatigue and materially compensate Black women and others doing this work, whether they are in DEIB-related positions or not. Thank you for the opportunity to share this work. Please feel free to contact me at NicoleWest@MissouriState.edu if you have any questions or feedback. Thank you again.